The Young and the Restless spoiler shock. Next week updates September 1st to September 5th. Kane Ashby has never been a man to play it safe, and this week in Genoa City is no exception. After quietly rebuilding his presence on the fringes of town, Kane is now making bolder moves that suggest he has no intention of being sidelined again. His return has already rattled Chancellor Winters and disrupted the fragile peace among the Abbotts, but his next steps could throw multiple families into turmoil. Rumors swirl that Kane is working through Holden Novak to build leverage outside official channels, and whispers of a shadow partnership continue to make their way around society's bar. Lily Winters remains suspicious. Victor Newman is keeping his cards close, and Amanda Sinclair has been tasked with tracking the paper trail that nobody wants to admit exists. For Kane, boldness is the only strategy left, but boldness in Genoa City has a way of creating chaos. And while Kane plots in the background, the rest of the city is bracing for a spectacle of its own: the grand launch party for Abbott Communications. The brainchild of Sally Spectra, Abbott Communications has been touted as the modern revival of the Abbott legacy in the media world, blending heritage with innovation. To mark the occasion, Sally has planned a launch party dripping with retro charm, complete with a nostalgic theme designed to evoke the glamour of Genoa City's golden years. Guests will arrive in vintage-inspired attire, the music will echo from another era, and the decor promises a glossy trip down memory lane. On paper, it sounds like a clever, stylish way to reintroduce the Abbott brand to a crowded marketplace. But this is Genoa City, and parties are rarely remembered for the mess; they are remembered for the scandals that explode in the middle of them. And all signs suggest that this launch, no matter how beautifully staged, will spiral into disaster before the night is over. The root of the problem lies in Sally's decision to hire Audra Charles as part of the Abbott Communications team. The move was bold, maybe even reckless. Billy Abbott voiced his concerns early, making no secret of his distrust of Audra's motives. But in the end, he chose to trust Sally's instincts and gave her the latitude to assemble her own team. Sally insisted that Audra brought both savvy and connections, a combination she believed would strengthen the company's competitive edge. Billy, despite his hesitation, respected Sally's vision, but his gut told him this could end badly. And on launch night, that intuition is likely to be vindicated in spectacular fashion. Audra Charles is not one to fade quietly into the background. The party, already buzzing with anticipation, is set to draw nearly everyone who matters in Genoa City: business leaders, socialites, and rivals alike. Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace Newman are almost certain to attend, and that alone raises the stakes considerably. Kyle's recent confession to Claire about the kiss with Audra in France has left their relationship on the edge of collapse. Claire's heartbreak is still raw, and though she hasn't forgiven Kyle, she hasn't forgotten him either. The sight of Kyle and Claire together in public, under the watchful eyes of the entire city, is bound to provoke Audra, who thrives on spectacle and knows how to twist a moment to her advantage. She won't resist the opportunity to turn the party into her stage and Kyle into her weapon. For Kyle, the risk is enormous. He has been trying to win Claire back with grand gestures, even considering a proposal to prove his commitment. But his honest eye, partial, delayed, and tainted by omission, has already fractured her trust. If Audra chooses this moment to lash out, to reveal the truth in all its unvarnished detail, Kyle's private mistake will become a public humiliation. And in Genoa City, reputations are currency. Once lost, they're almost impossible to regain. Claire, still struggling with the scars of Jordan Howard's lies, will be devastated all over again. To discover that Kyle's betrayal wasn't just whispered in the shadows, but shouted across a party filled with colleagues, family, and rivals may push her further away than any apology or proposal can repair. Sally, meanwhile, will face the fallout of her own gamble. Her friendship with Audra has always been complicated: mutual admiration mixed with rivalry, trust seasoned with suspicion. But when she gave Audra a position at Abbott Communications, Sally staked her own credibility on the idea that Audra could be controlled, or at least managed. If Audra detonates at the launch party, Sally won't just lose face, she'll lose the company's momentum before it even begins. The board will question her judgment. Investors will waver. Billy will remind her, with that quiet tone of his, that he warned her. And worst of all, she may be forced to fire Audra publicly, cutting ties with a friend she tried desperately to protect. For someone like Sally has fought her entire life to prove that her instincts are valid. Her talent undeniable, that kind of failure will sting more than any business setback. It will be personal. Phyllis Summers, too, will not escape unscathed. Already in the midst of her own crisis rumors of financial missteps, whispers of strained alliancecephalus arrives at the party carrying baggage of her own. For her, the event is supposed to be a chance to mingle, to reassure, to remind Genoa City that she is still a force. But as the night spirals, Phyllis may find herself pulled into conflicts she cannot control. She has her own history with Audra, her own complicated dynamic with Kyle, and her own stake in Abbott family affairs. If chaos erupts, Phyllis could become collateral damage, or worse, a convenient scapegoat. By the time the night is over, the party meant to celebrate nostalgia and renewal will likely be remembered for betrayal, exposure, and humiliation. Kane will be watching from the sidelines, no doubt smiling as Abbott Communications begins its life already bloodied. Victor will see an opportunity to tighten his grip on the Newman family by exploiting Claire's heartbreak. And Audra, whether fired, shamed, or triumphant, will walk away having reminded everyone in Genoa City that she is not to be underestimated. For Kyle and Claire, the consequences could be devastating. For Sally, it could be the end of a dream before it begins. And for Billy, the party may confirm once and for all that his instincts about Audra were right, even as the fallout engulfs the people he loves. The question isn't whether Abbott Communications will survive its launch. It almost certainly will, because the Abbotts always find a way to survive. The question is what kind of scars the party will leave behind, and who will be left to pick up the pieces when the lights go out and the music stops. Genoa City has seen disasters before, but rarely one so carefully staged, so elegantly planned, and so ripe for implosion. And when the champagne glasses shatter and the whispers turn to shouts, one truth will stand above the rest. In Genoa City, no celebration is ever safe, and no victory comes without a price. The coming week in Genoa City promises to be one of the most tangled, emotional, and explosive stretches of the young and the restless yet. At the center of it all is Phyllis Summers, a woman who has lived through more crises than most and yet finds herself once again on the verge of total collapse. What makes this particular storm so potent is not just Phyllis's own recklessness, it's the way her choices have become entwined with Kane Ashby's increasingly audacious maneuvers. Kane insists that he has put his original takeover schemes on ice, but no one in town truly believes him. Not Lily, not Billy, not Sally, and especially not Victor Newman, who has his own reasons for keeping Kane on a short leash. The result is a volatile web of suspicion, ambition, and betrayal that threatens to consume all of them. Phyllis's crisis begins with the fallout from her latest business decisions she swears were made to protect her independence, but which now look more like desperation than strategy. Kane has been whispering in her ear, dangling the prospect of a bold new partnership that would allow both of them to reclaim power in Genoa City's corporate chess game. But Kane, as always, is playing multiple boards at once. Billy Abbott has already tried to warn him that involving Phyllis is like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. You don't know what you're walking into, Billy cautioned, his words heavy with experience. Kane, ever the gambler, brushed it off. He thinks he's in control. But Billy, who has seen Phyllis implode her own life too many times, knows better. This isn't just another reckless partnership. It's a ticking time bomb. The first sign of how bad things might get comes when Daniel Romalotti, Jr., stumbles into a situation he wishes he could forget. Daniel has been trying to rebuild some semblance of stability in his life, reconnecting with family, balancing work, and dealing with his complicated history with Phyllis. But when he overhears his mother leaving a panicked voicemail for Kane, a message filled with desperation, fear, and what sounds dangerously close to confession, he realizes that she is in far deeper trouble than she's admitting. The content of the message is vague, but its tone is unmistakable. Phyllis is scared, and Phyllis scared is almost more dangerous than Phyllis scheming. To make matters worse, Daniel has recently re-established contact with Holden Novak, a man whose name keeps circling Kane like a hawk over prey. Whatever Holden and Kane are plotting, Phyllis is now caught in the middle, and Daniel knows it can't end well. The question is, who is really pulling the strings? That's where Amanda Sinclair comes in. Her sudden return to Genoa City has already raised eyebrows, and while she has yet to reveal her full agenda, it's clear she has been drawn back for a reason. Whispers suggest she may be asked to keep an eye on Phyllis, perhaps by Lily or even by Victor himself. Amanda, with her razor-sharp instincts and her ability to read both people and contracts with equal precision, is exactly the kind of counterweight needed in this escalating mess. But Phyllis is no fool if she senses Amanda shadowing her. She'll turn the tables and try to use the lawyer for her own ends. Already there are hints that Phyllis may be playing a dangerous double game, smiling sweetly at Amanda while hiding her own set of cards beneath the table. In Genoa City, lawyers often become pawns in the larger game, but Amanda has always been more than a pawn. If Phyllis underestimates her, she may regret it. Meanwhile, Kane insists that he's abandoned his original takeover scheme. He tells anyone who will listen that he's focusing on family, on redemption, on building something legitimate this time. But the skepticism is universal. Billy watches him with the sharp, weary eyes of a man who knows better. Sally doesn't say much, but her silence is its own verdict. They don't trust him, and for good reason. Kane has burned bridges before, and his promises have a way of dissolving the moment opportunity beckons. The city is waiting for the other shoe to drop, and the truth is, it's only a matter of time before it does. And then there is Victor Newman, master puppeteer, whose presence looms over all of this like a thundercloud. It is becoming increasingly clear that Victor has been applying quiet but relentless pressure on Kane. Blackmail isn't as strong a word for it. Victor has leverage, and he knows how to use it. Whether it's tied to Kane's activities in France, his financial entanglements, or something more personal, Victor has found the weak spot and is pressing hard. Kane may be bold, but even he knows the danger of being cornered by Victor. The patriarch of the Newman family doesn't bluff, and he doesn't forgive. Kane is running out of options, and every step he takes now feels like a man walking a tightrope with no safety net below. And yet, even in the midst of this storm, there is a glimmer of humanity. A leaked video message from Kane, intended for Lily Winters, has struck a chord. In it, Kane speaks not of business, not of ambition, but of love and regret. He talks about family, about the mistakes he's made, and about the possibility of redemption. It's raw, vulnerable, and startlingly genuine. Lily, despite her mistrust and her anger, cannot help but be moved. She sees in the video a version of the man she once loved, the father of her children, the partner she once thought she could spend a lifetime with. For a moment, she allows herself to believe that maybe Kane means what he says this time. But Lily is too wise to let emotion override caution. She knows words are easy. It's actions that count. Still, her heart softens, and that small crack in her armor could be the opening Kane needs. As the week unfolds, the threads will tighten. Phyllis will sink deeper into crisis, her desperation pulling Daniel into danger he doesn't yet understand. Kane will keep moving forward, bold as ever, but increasingly trapped between Victor's blackmail, Holden's shadowy involvement, and the need to prove to Lily that he can still be the man she once believed in. Amanda will find herself pulled into the center of the storm, tasked with protecting Phyllis while trying not to become collateral damage. And Billy, ever the reluctant moral compass, will keep warning Kane that he's playing with fire warnings that Kane, as always, may ignore until it's too late. In Genoa City, Secrets always come to light. Lies always collapse under their own weight. And when the truth about Kane's dealings with Holden, Phyllis's desperate calls, and Victor's leverage finally explodes, the fallout will touch every corner of town. Some will lose everything. Some may find redemption. And some may discover that the boldest move is also the most dangerous.